Hi there, this is Grim Hathor, and today we're going to get started playing with Rovees. To get through this tutorial, you will need a Rovee HUD and a Rovee controller. You can get these items for free from our sim. You'll also need to have at least one egg and one seed. Again, these items can be obtained from our sim for free in a free starter kit. This is limited to one per player. When you purchase a starter kit, or eggs or seeds or any items from us really, they will not go to your Second Life inventory. We actually store them on our own inventory system that will be displayed when we get to the HUD section. So let's go ahead and get into that. Let's wear our HUD and res the Rovee controller in world. You'll see in the HUD there's already some information displayed. This is our options page. It has a link to ourselves, a tutorial quest to help you get started. It has buttons to get a HUD and get a controller. Now these are important whenever we do updates. If you need to get the newest version HUD and the newest version controller, the options are right there in your old HUD. It has an option to enroll in our notice system, which is off by default. And this works very much like a subscribe-o-matic, that way we don't have to take up a group to send you notices. It's got an option to turn trash confirmations on and off. And what this is when you go to delete something from our inventory system, it's going to pop up a warning, and you can disable that warning if you really want to. It's got pass notices, again like a subscribe-o-matic, and it's got some links to our websites to report bugs, check our forums, check our blog, that kind of thing. Now the first thing we need to do to get started is to set up a controller. We've got the object, but it doesn't actually have a controller attached to it yet. It's just this blank unknown controller owned by unknown. But we do have an option to create a new controller. And I'm going to click on that, and you'll see it says it's setting up. Please wait until it's completed. And now that it's completed, it shows you its name is Controller 1 by default, owned by us. It has some options that we're going to get into in a moment, and then it lists all of your pets and all of your plants. So now that we have a controller set up, we have it in the HUD, we can click on an egg and click Use. And this will put the egg onto that controller and hatch it. And you can see here in World, we've hatched out a little retro Rovee. Retro describes the shape of the Rovee. And we can click on this seed that's got a different icon and use it, and it will put that on, and here it is hatched out a little round Rovee. Again, round describes the shape. And now we can click on one of the seeds, and it's giving me an error. I must be within 10 meters of the controller to put a plant on it. So I'm going to have to scoot a little closer and try again. And now it has resed this seed and planted it as a small windflower at our feet. I'm going to go ahead and use the other plant and the other eggs here too, get them all out there. And you can see this whole time the HUD has been updating. Now we have 4 Rovees and 2 plants on this controller. Now I can click on one of these Rovees here, or I could also go to the controller and click on the Rovee that way. And either way I've gotten to Roman. Now his name is Roman. I can click on the name field and give him a new name like Snizzlefit. And that'll show up in the HUD. He is male, owned by me, and he's attached to this controller, Controller 1 that we just created. He is a retro Rovee. He uses wind energy, and you can get free wind seeds from us, so wind energy is free if you grow it yourself. He has no known mother or father because he came from a vendor. He does not have a known mate. He can breed in 6 days and 23 hours. He has never been bred before. And then I have an option here to package for sale, but that's another tutorial. Now when this timer runs out, the 6 days and 23 hours, it will turn into a breed button. And then you can click on breed and select a mate for him, and then the mate will show up, the breedings will change, and there will be a new countdown clock here for how long until you can gather the egg from them, which will be 1 week. At the end of that week, that button will again change into a gather button that lets you get that egg. And then it'll turn back into a breed button that lets you breed it. Now we've got some scrolling arrows here too. There's more information that can be displayed on one page. If If you click the single arrow, it'll take you down one line. If you click the double arrow, it'll take you down one page. On the second page here, it describes all of the specific information about this Rovees: shape, texture style, and color for the head, torso, arms, and legs. And below that, it also describes its eye color, its propulsion, which is inline skates or rollerblades that we can see there on him, his size, when he was hatched, and who bred him. So when you first hatch a baby Rovee, you can't do any actions because he has to be at least a week old to mate. So we're going to take a look here at the plants. Now, if you notice, both of these plants have a little gear icon above them. And this means that something needs to be done to them. We need to care for them in some way. And further, if I click on the controller, you'll see there's the little gear icon near the names too. Again, letting you know you need to do something with this plant to take care of it. So if I click the plant in the controller or in world, I'll get its information in my window here. And again, I can rename the plants too. It tells me its species, when it was hatched, its size. Plant size is completely random. It's just to give it some variety, whereas the size of the Rovees can be bred. It's got a harvest score. The higher the harvest score is, the more energy I will get from an energy plant when I go to harvest it, and the better chance of getting rare traits I will get from a research lab plant. But research lab plants are for another tutorial. It has a life. This is how many times I can harvest from this plant before it needs replanted. All energy plants can only be harvested once. I've got a tend button, which is going to care for the plant, so I'm going to click that here, and you will see that its harvest score has gone up 15 points because I tended my own plant, and it's got a timer set before I can tend it again. The tending time automatically resets at midnight second lifetime. So every time midnight hits, all plants and in second life will be tendable again. I've got another countdown clock here for how long until I can harvest it, which is again a week. And I've got an option to set position. Say I didn't like where this plant ended up at my feet, I can just move it around second life to wherever I want it. Make sure I've got the right plant targeted, and then set its position. And now it's been stored at that position relative to your controller tree. Now, I'm going to go ahead and target the controller again, and we can get into some of the more advanced options on it. You'll notice the first option is to derez Rovees and Plants, and this deletes all of those objects in Second Life so that they're not taking up your prims. If you're not taking care of them and you don't want to show them off, you can do this to free up those prims. And when you want to use them again, you can just click refresh. If your controller ever gets out of sync with our server, refresh will also get it back in sync as well. And it takes it a second, and then it's set up, and all your pets and plants are back. Now you also have an option to create a new controller because you're allowed to have more than one, and an option to change between your controllers that you do have. We've only got the one created, so that's the only option on the list. We've also got an option to stop and start movement, and if we do this, it'll tell you movement's been disabled or enabled, and that basically just stops the Rovees in place. Now, anytime you refresh a controller or res a new controller or change a controller, you'll have to reset the stop and start movement option. That does not get stored permanently. Now, if you are super prim conscious, what you can do is actually derez and then delete the tree itself. And when you want to use your pets and plants again, you can simply res the controller, click it. Again, it's a blank controller, but now instead of creating a new one, we can change it back to that other one we already had. And it automatically knows about all of the pets and plants that it's supposed to have, and it'll get them resed out around it. And this is also why they're asset proof. If the entire sim lost everything on it to the asset server, you would just pick up a new controller from our Petable sim, and it would know about all the different controllers you have set up, and all the controllers know about all the pets and plants that are supposed to be on them. And now you can click it, and click on the pets and plants and care for them, just as if they had never gone away. If you're really prim conscious, what you can even do is derez the pets and plants and delete the tree, and you actually don't have to res anything to interact with them. If we click on this, the options button, we can find our name. And if we click on ourselves, we get our player page, which lists our experience, level, our energy. It has some options to package things for selling. And more importantly, it has our controllers all listed out. We've only got the one, so it's only listing the one. But I can click on that controller just like I had clicked it in World. And then from there, I can click on a plant, this plant here that still needs an action taken on it, like it was in World. And I can tend that plant all directly from my HUD without resing anything. Now, some of the other options we have over here. Let's get a controller back out. And let's change it back to controller 1 where we've got some pets. And again, these options can even be taken directly through the HUD without actually resing if you want to navigate that way. But what we can do is target a Rovee, and we can pick it up using the hand button. And now it's gone in World. It's gone from the controller, and it's in our inventory. And we could then attach this Rovee to any other controller we had, or if we don't remember what Rovee it is, we can click on the View button and get its information to pull back up in the HUD from inventory. If we really don't like this Rovee, we can trash it and confirm that we want to trash it. This button here is the quest button. That's used for turning in Rovees and eggs if you're doing the trading quest. That's another tutorial. And this is the inventory refresh button. If your inventory ever gets out of sync with our server, you can just click this to get it back in sync. You've got 40 inventory slots here, and you've actually got 8 bags. Now, right now, we've only got 1. The other 7 we have not unlocked. But each bag has its own 40 inventory slots when you click it. And we've also got our energy, our wind energy display, and our solar energy display. Up here, we've got an option to hide and show our inventory panel. We're already familiar with the options button. We've got an option to print, which prints whatever's showing here all out to text chat so you can copy and paste it. And we've got an option to minimize the entire HUD. If we want to bring it back, we simply click on it, and we can bring the inventory back up too. And this way we can navigate the HUD, we can take care of our pets and plants, and like we had discussed, very prim friendly because you don't even have to keep them in World if you don't want to. Another option is if you do want to see them while you're taking care of them and you don't have the land to do so, we have public controllers set up on our sim Petable that you can come and use temporarily just to interact with your pets and plants. And that's about it for this tutorial. There should be some more advanced tutorials coming down the line, but this should get you started. Have a good day.